I recently designed 4 new LUTs that I'm calling the Head-Stock LUTs. Stock because they're inspired by 4 of my favourite 35mm film stocks, and Head because these LUTs are called Hibiscus, Earth, Ash and Daisy. I showed these LUTs to the team at LUMIX and they were very excited. So excited in fact that they decided to send me on a road trip to test these LUTs out. So where did I decide to go on this LUT test road trip? Welcome to the Head-Stock LUT test road trip around the Highlands and Islands of Scotland. 4 days, 4 LUTs, 1 Ross and a LUMIX camera. Let's go! By the time you're watching this video, all 4 of my new Head-Stock LUTs will be available to download via the LUMIX Lab app. If you don't have the LUMIX Lab app, you can download it, find these LUTs, and then in the newest version of the Lab app, you can bulk transfer the LUTs directly to your camera. It's the end of day 1 and my LUT test road trip has taken me to Fort William, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to tell you about the first of my 4 new LUTs. Let's start with the letter H. Hibiscus was inspired by one of my absolute favourite film stocks, which also has an H in the title. It's focused more on the magenta and green side of the colour scale, and it has like a soft and natural contrast. Hibiscus is a very versatile LUT, which is good for landscapes and portraits and everything in between. I designed it with just a pinch of green in the shadows, and I think this LUT looks really good. Overexposed, underexposed, exposed correctly, warmed up and cooled down. If you'd like to create images as close to the film stock that Hibiscus was based on, my suggestion would be to set your sharpness at -2.5 and your grain setting to low. I shoot with this LUT and all my Head-Stock LUTs set at 100%, but remember you can always turn down your LUT opacity or your contrast and saturation if you're looking for like a more subtle look. It's almost the end of day 2 on my Highlands and Islands LUT test road trip, and today I've ended up on the Isle of Mull. So I thought it's a perfect opportunity to tell you about my next Head-Stock LUT. This time it begins with the letter E. When I picture planet Earth, 2 colours come to mind, green and blue, and those are the exact colours that this LUT was designed to make shine. Inspired by another 35mm film stock that I love, which also begins with the letter E, Earth is the boldest, punchiest, most contrasty LUT of the 4. It works absolutely perfectly for landscapes, but also looks good in other scenarios. To get Earth as close to the 35mm film stock that it was inspired by, on your LUMIX camera I suggest to keep your contrast and saturation up, change your sharpness to 0 and turn your grain setting to low, or even off if you prefer a cleaner look. I'm just about to jump on a ferry across to the Isle of Skye, and it's lunchtime on day 3, which means today I'm going to tell you about my 3rd Head-Stock LUT, this time beginning with the letter A. Ash is a gorgeous black and white LUT based on a 35mm film stock beginning with the same letter, with what I would call a cult following. I designed Ash with a base photo style of L monochrome D, which itself was inspired by film, with deep blacks and vibrant whites, and Ash only adds to this filmic look. Shooting JPEGs with this LUT inside my LUMIX camera, I love playing around with the eye dynamic range setting. For all the other 3 Head-Stock LUTs, I have my eye dynamic range setting to low, but when shooting with Ash, I sometimes push the eye dynamic range up to standard, just to give it like an extra dynamic range boost. The film stock this LUT was based on, again, is very sharp with extremely fine grain. So when shooting with it inside my LUMIX camera, I tend to set my sharpness somewhere around 0 and have my grain setting again at low. It's the last day of my LUT test road trip around the Scottish Highlands and Islands, and today I've got to make the long journey back to get the ferry back to Ireland. But there is still time, however, to tell you about my final LUT in the Head-Stock series, and you've guessed it, this one begins with a D. Although Daisy is the final LUT, I think I've saved the best to last. The 35mm film stock that this LUT is based on also has a D in the name, which stands for dynamic, and that's exactly how I would describe this LUT. It's full of character with delicious pastel-y tones. It's somehow both warm and cool at the same time. I tinted the highlights to like a pale blue, the greens to like a minty hue, and to emulate the look of like halation, I even added a little bit of red to the shadows. I think this LUT looks good both warmed up and cooled down, and I get the best results by exposing correctly or even slightly overexposing with it. When shooting with Daisy in my LUMIX camera, I generally have my grain setting and my eye dynamic range setting set to low, and I have my sharpness somewhere around -2.5 because I like a little bit of sharpness in my images. Sounds crazy, but I think Daisy is my most exciting LUT I've made to date. I've been enjoying shooting with it in pretty much every scenario: indoors, outdoors, portraits, events, and even on the street. Designing LUTs, going on road trips, and shooting JPEGs with my LUMIX camera are three of my favourite things to do, so for me the last few days have been an absolute blast. On this trip I've been mainly shooting with my trusty LUMIX S9 with three of their S-series prime lenses attached: the 100mm f2.8, the 50mm f1.8, and the odd shot with the 18mm f1.8 as well. These LUMIX primes are light, bright, and the autofocus is really fast, and I've been loving using them for this trip. If you haven't dived into the LUMIX S series of prime lenses, I couldn't recommend them more, especially the 100mm macro. It's been so nice to use for this trip. A massive thanks once again goes to the team at LUMIX for sending me out on this LUT test road trip across the Highlands and Islands of Scotland. Also thanks to you guys for watching and coming along with me on this adventure. I hope you enjoyed this video, but more than that, I hope you enjoy my 4 brand new Head-Stock LUTs, which are available to download from the LUMIX Lab app right now. So what are you waiting for? Download the app, find these LUTs, load them into your camera, and get out shooting. I hope you enjoy using them as much as I did on this trip.
That's an absolutely wonderful view, hey?